Hello everyone, this is Vicki today, designing for Pinkfresh Studio, and I'm using the brand new Garden Bouquet collection. This is another collection like Chrysanthemum that doesn't have any papers, but what it does have is a beautiful washi and die and stamp set, which you can use to create lots of extra embellishments. And I love these washis. They just extend your collection and your stash in a massive way. It's really, really great to have them. And I'm going to cut out a couple of strips of these with the die, and you can see that how I do that. I just put my die onto here and I just put a bit of washi tape to stick the die in place so that it doesn't move around in the machine, and then I'm going to put it through my die cutter. So I skip through that because you don't really need to watch that process, but there you go, all my die pieces. Now this collection has beautiful rich purples and oranges and greens and golds, and it's really, really pretty. I think this could be fall colours, it could be spring colours, just really, really pretty. I'm using these two photos of my niece, and they're very simple photos, and I did them in black and white so that the colours could really draw your attention into those black and white. The photos are really going to pop from the page. And I'm using the journaling pieces to create a layered background. So I don't have the papers, so I'm going to use these as my layered background, and they work really, really well. And that everything obviously matches because it's a collection, and this washi just really makes that orange and green and purple pop off the page. I love it. So I'm just sort of building my layout roughly how I would like it to be, and now I'm going to put some mixed media on the page. And I'm going to use two colours, Regal Kiss and Persimmon, and I'm just going to use the packaging technique. That means I'm going to dab my ink onto some plastic, I'm going to add some water, and then I'm going to put it on my page. There is no gesso on my page, this is just thick white cardstock. I know that when I put that down, wherever I put it down, it's going to stay. I'm not going to have any wiggle room with it. It's just going to go there. So just be aware of that if you don't use gesso, that's what will happen. So there's no room for mistakes. But in all honesty, I'm covering this. A lot of this will be covered with my photos and embellishments, so you won't see it. What I'm looking for is for it to stick out of the edge. So what goes on right in the middle there, it's really not a problem for me if it does look strange. I mean, just like that on the page, it looks very peculiar. So I'm going to dry that a little bit, and then I'm going to bring my photos and embellishments back in just to see if I've got enough ink on there. If I sound strange, by the way, I'm just recovering from a head cold, so I'm a bit nasally. Apologies if I do sound peculiar. Okay, so I've put all this back on, and what you can see is that you can't see the orange very much. So I want to add some more because I want to be able to see that in the background. So I add a little bit more here at the bottom, and you'll see when I bring the pieces back on that you can now see that sticking out. And the useful thing here is I've sort of all my pieces I've kept clustered together, so it's really easy to just bring them back in and put them back on the page quickly to make sure that I'm happy, and then I can take them back off if I need to do anything more on the background. And so on this occasion, before I start to stick anything, I wanted to make sure that the ink was dry, just purely because if I try to stick something onto wet ink, it's not going to stick well and it will probably fall off later. So I'm just going to use some double-sided tape on here to stick this down. Now that it is completely dry, the tape should be fine to stick. Make sure I put my flowers underneath there before it fully sticks down so that I can position those. And then I do make a mess of this, trying to put foam on the back of the photo. First of all, I cut it the wrong size, then I put it on the wrong photo. So you can ignore that, but I just thought I'd leave it there so that you can see that it's easy to make mistakes like that. We all do it. There we go. Right, now I have a piece of foam on the right photo there on the left-hand side. That one's going to be raised, and then the other one's going flat because it's going to tuck underneath the orange there on that side. There we go, and I'm happy with that. I like the one on the left because she's looking the opposite. She's looking into the layout, and the one on the left is looking straight out. I have no idea if I just said that the right way around. My head is not functioning as it should, but you get the gist of what I mean. So I'm just sticking everything down. Those florals I only stuck down in one small place because I like them to be sort of sticking up off the page. It just looks a bit more dimensional when you look at it. I cut that tag to stick it in there because it was too long to put under where I'd already stuck down the envelopes. And then I'm going to use this. It's some waxed twine that I have in my stash, which I'm going to use to tie onto that tag, and I do ultimately change that, but you'll see what happens with that in just a moment. Okay, this is where I realise I need something at the top. it looks too naked up there, so I decide to put another tag, and I'm going to tie the two tags together. And that's always a nice thing when you have two tags facing, is to tie them together. I'm going to glue that down, and it sticks over the edge just a smidge, which I have to cut off in a minute, but I wanted to pull it taut so that that piece of twine isn't too loose. I'm going to stick down my title here, not my title, my tag here, which says always look for the good. I think about using one of the other sentiments, but I stick with that one. And I'm putting that onto foam. This is just sticky back foam that I use. Almost put the foam on the wrong side. There we go. And I'm thinking here about using chipboard frames, and I love chipboard frames. I can't ever get enough of them. I could have several packs every collection. But I stick that when I cut it in half and just stick it in a couple of places. The florals on there are exactly the same as the washi, so it works really well. That little piece that I tucked in just says love on it. And then this puffy sticker says love this. And I wind up putting that above the photo. You'll see there. I try a few different places, but that's where I like it. I'm now thinking about the cluster at the top, where the tag is. I feel like a tag on its own is not enough there, so I'm just thinking about what to put with that. And I'm going to get out the die cut pieces. And there's a little circular tag in there that says beauty in the ordinary. And I think that really works because they're just ordinary photos, everyday photos, but I think but they're beautiful. So I'm going to do that, and then I'm going to use the fabulous gold sticker, alpha stickers. These are beautiful. They're very, they're shiny, but they're not too reflective. They've sort of got a matte finish to them, but they're shiny, and they're just the perfect blend of shiny and matte. I don't like things to be too shiny because they don't photograph well. And it's a little frustrating, but I don't want them to be too matte where they look just a dark colour. So these are just perfect for that. So I definitely recommend having a look at them. Just trimming off my twine there. And then there are some enamel dots in exactly the same gold, which I'm going to put on the layout as well. And these, a whole sheet of these, I can't wait to use these again. They're just stunning. So while I'm just finishing that up, I will tell you again that this collection is called Garden Bouquet, and I will link that in the comments below from the Pinkfresh store. Obviously, if you're in another country, you'll be able to get it into your local scrapbook store. There's my main layout, which you can see there, the finished layout. There are some close-ups as well to have a look at. If you have any questions at all, please let me know. I will be happy to help. We would love for you to follow the Pinkfresh Studio YouTube channel because we post lots of new content all the time and there's always inspiration for you and lives. But yeah, in the meantime, this has been Vicki for Pinkfresh Studio. Until next time, bye-bye.